This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 4th day of January in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Senior Counsel Rex McKay and a team of high-powered lawyers this afternoon filed an application in the Supreme Court against the results of the no-confidence motion, singling out the dual citizenship of former government member of parliament Charandas Prasad, who voted in favor of the motion. The matter has been filed on behalf of New Amsterdam farmer Compton Herbert Reid and lists the Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Barton Scotland, recalled former Member of Parliament Charandas Prasad, and the Attorney General Basil Williams as the respondents in the case. The court is being asked to declare that the former MP Charandas Prasad was not qualified for election as a member of the National Assembly by virtue of his own act and acknowledgement of allegiance, obedience and adherence to a foreign power, being the state of Canada, in contravention of Article 1551 of the Constitution of Guyana. Additionally, the court is being asked to declare that Prasad was disqualified on the 7th of April 2015 from being nominated as a member of the National Assembly of the Republic of Guyana, and that his nomination as a candidate on the list of the APNU-AFC is invalid, null and void, and of no legal effect. The attorneys also want the court to declare that Charandas Prasad is a citizen of Canada and is the holder of a valid Canadian passport which will expire in 2022, and that he was the holder of another valid Canadian passport which expired last year. With all the issues surrounding the citizenship of Charandas Prasad, the applicant is asking the court to therefore declare that Prasad's December 21 vote in the National Assembly in favor of the no-confidence motion was null, void, and of no legal effect. And by that reason, the court is also being asked to declare the no-confidence motion was not passed as a result of Prasad's vote. Court documents seen by News Source reveal that the court is being requested to set aside the order declaring that the motion was passed. Additionally, the applicant wants the court to grant an order staying the enforcement of the resolution as declared by the clerk of the National Assembly. Additionally, the attorneys want the court to grant a conservatory order preserving the status quo ante of the government that remains in office until the hearing and determination of the matter. Under the Constitution, elections are to be called within 3 months of the successful passage of a no-confidence motion, or at a time agreed to by 2/3 of the National Assembly. President David Granger and Opposition Leader Barra Jagdeo are to meet on the issue next Wednesday. This is your Friday edition of your News Source Evening Bulletin. More news in a moment.
Ready to ride it, ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe, drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild, catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong, come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection. Wave, 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 wave.
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
Roam like you're home, because prepaid means more with GTT. Travel to any GTT roam zone in the US, Canada, Caribbean, Latin America, or South America, and pay the same great rates to use your data from foreign as you do when you're home. With GTT, prepaid means more, so roam like you're home with GTT, Guyana's preferred roaming network.
Welcome back. One of the government's legal challenges to the outcome of the December 21 no-confidence vote by the legislature offers an opportunity for uncertainty to be removed in the interpretation of what constitutes an absolute majority. That's a contention of Leader of Government Business in the National Assembly, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu. He spoke last evening at the Parliament buildings.
It is possible that a court can say okay, I'm going to look at your application, and for the time being, the status quo remains until the hearing and determination of the matter. So it is possible. But I cannot say, I'm not the court. I cannot say that the court, as soon as you walk in the court, they said, okay, there shall be no elections. As it is, you have to deal with the Article 106.7 that tells you a different story. Is that the time actually is a time that could be extended, that could be varied once you get into the National Assembly, and with the support of 2/3 majority, you can extend the time to any date you would want to, any further date. So one shouldn't create any kind of feeling of panic or desperation that the time is clicking and something is going to happen. No.
A 33-32 vote in favor of the parliamentary opposition gave it what it believes to be a majority for the passage of its no-confidence motion against the coalition. However, the government failed in convincing the Speaker to review the vote and is now making attempts to challenge the outcome of the vote in court by advancing the argument that 34 seats and not 33 were needed for the successful passage of the motion.
So there are cases in many countries. In Kenya, I've seen another case that was sent to me last night that tells you that there's a similarity of the position, that where you have to deal with fraction, like a parliament with 65 members, you don't have half a member. Therefore, if you have 32.5 as half, you have to round it up to 33 and then add 1 to get at the majority. Therefore, the formula is 1/2 round up plus 1. And they have that in many countries, dealing with uneven, odd numbers in parliaments. So here is a case where the Speaker is saying, look, I'm looking at these, all these contentions, the authorities, and I have doubts now in my mind. So that's where it is.
The last two general elections saw the opposition and the government controlling the legislature by a one-seat majority. In 2011, the combined opposition controlled the House with 33 seats, while the government secured 32. In 2015, the coin was flipped, and the government secured 33 seats, and the opposition 32, changing the government. And with the government moving to legally challenge the outcome of the no-confidence vote against it by examining the citizenship of its former member, Charandas Prasad, opposition spokesman on legal affairs Anil Nandlal does not see the wisdom in it. In fact, Mr. Nandlal offered that a law is not an ass that can be used and abused at the convenience of the government. On December 21, the government member of parliament Charandas Prasad supported an opposition-sponsored no-confidence motion. After failing to get the Speaker of the House to review the vote on Thursday, the government announced its pursuit of legal challenges. One of those moves is to challenge the validity of Prasad's vote.
There is a provision in our law that says that a person who swears allegiance to a foreign state is disqualified from being elected to the National Assembly. There is a provision in our Constitution that says that. We don't know Charandas. We never put Charandas in the Parliament. They put Charandas in the Parliament. That's the first thing. So they must have known, or they should have known, that Charandas was in that Parliament unlawfully. If they didn't know, they ought to know. Or else they were tremendously reckless.
In the interview last evening on his party's radio station, the former Attorney General dismissed the government's contention that the legality of the vote can be challenged on that basis, arguing that the law cannot be used conveniently. Mr. Nandlal said he's firmly of the view that the government has a weak case if it proceeds in the direction of challenging Charandas Prasad's dual citizenship. He believes that the government has benefited from the same individual's votes in the past. Still in the world of politics, one of the first persons to indicate an interest in becoming the presidential candidate for the opposition People's Progressive Party at the next elections may have to bow out of the race even before a single vote for the candidate is cast. News source has learned that the executive committee of the People's Progressive Party is of the view that all of the persons seeking to be the party's presidential candidate at the next elections should be serving members in the party's central committee. It would be the first time that such a requirement is being put in place. Of the 7 persons putting themselves forward as candidates so far, the only one who is not on the Central Committee is youth member Charles Ramson Jr. The others, Anil Nandlal, Irfan Ali, Dr. Vindi Prasad, Gail Tashira, Sham Nakhtar and Dr. Frank Anthony are all members of the party's Central Committee. Mr. Ramson was the first person to indicate an interest in leading the party into the next elections. At age 35, he's also the youngest in the race. His announcement came just after the Caribbean Court of Justice ruled on the presidential term limit case. That ruling by the CCJ has effectively blocked opposition leader and former President Bharat Jagdeo from seeking the post of president for a 3rd term. The Central Committee of the PPP has 35 members and represents the highest decision-making organ in the party. It is the 35 members of the Central Committee who will decide on the party's presidential candidate for the next elections. A senior party executive confirmed to news source that the party's executive committee has in fact made a decision about the candidates needing to be members of the Central Committee. 3 other senior party members who news source contacted offered no comment, while a 4th member said there are a number of procedures, processes, and requirements being examined for the potential candidates, and the requirement to be on the Central Committee is one of those. PPP General Secretary Bharat Jagdeo at a recent press conference indicated that newbies might face a difficult time to win support for the position of presidential candidate. He hinted then that he believes the persons being examined for the position should have experience at the cabinet level in government and at the leadership level of the party. The executive committee of the PPP is expected to further examine issues surrounding its preparations for elections and the election of a presidential candidate. The vote for the presidential candidate position will be done by secret ballot. If all of the current candidates remain in place, it will mark the first time that a party will have to vote on a presidential candidate. In the past, possible candidates declined their nominations, allowing just one candidate to go forward to receive the endorsement of the Central Committee. This time around, however, some candidates appear to want to stay in the race and see it through to the end. And finally tonight, in the Georgetown Magistrates Court today, a 26-year-old man who allegedly leaked nude images and video of his reputed wife on social media was charged, but later released after his alleged victim refused to offer evidence in the case. The accused, Hadar London, appeared before the chief magistrate to face charges over the nude video leak, but the court was told that the complainant was no longer offering evidence in the matter. Before setting the man free, the magistrate issued a stern warning to him and placed him on 1-year bond for good behavior. If any complaint against him reaches the court within the next year, he could find himself being thrown in jail. It was explained to the court that the man shared sexual images and video of his reputed wife on WhatsApp after they got involved in an argument. The argument reported centered around the woman's ex-lover, and the video that was circulated by the man contained images of the woman and her ex-lover in sexually compromising positions. The accused was also charged with making off with the woman's jewelry, but that matter was also brushed aside as no evidence was being offered in the case. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.